Well, hey there, boys and girls, ladies and gents, theys and theirs. This is Tara Shapansky from the Polish-American Brotherhood and Adam Francisco from Be Free Ma Sheeple. And you're listening to the T&A Show, the Tara and Adam Show. Well, hey there, boys and girls, ladies and gents, theys and theirs. This is Tara Shapansky from the Polish-American Brotherhood and Adam Francisco from Be Free Ma Sheeple. And you're listening to the T&A Show, the Tara and Adam Show. Well, hey there, boys and girls, ladies and gents, theys and theirs. This is Tara Shapansky from the Polish-American Brotherhood and Adam Francisco from Be Free Ma Sheeple. And you're listening to the T&A Show, the Tara and Adam Show. Well, hey there, boys and girls, ladies and gents, theys and theirs. This is Tara Shapansky from the Polish-American Brotherhood and Adam Francisco from Be Free Ma Sheeple. And you're listening to the T&A Show, the Tara and Adam Show. Well, hey there, boys and girls, ladies and gents, theys and theirs. This is Tara Shapansky from the Polish-American Brotherhood and Adam Francisco from Be Free Ma Sheeple. And you're listening to the T&A Show, the Tara and Adam Show. Well, hey there, boys and girls, ladies and gents, theys and theirs. This is Tara Shapansky from the Polish-American Brotherhood and Adam Francisco from Be Free Ma Sheeple. And you're listening to the T&A Show, the Tara and Adam Show. Well, hey there, boys and girls, ladies and gents, theys and theirs. This is Tara Shapansky from the Polish-American Brotherhood and Adam Francisco from Be Free Ma Sheeple. And you're listening to the T&A Show, the Tara and Adam Show.
Are we live? Mic check, mic check. Welcome back, guys, to the T&A Show, late night edition. Here, Adam Francisco with his co-host, Tara Shapansky from the Polish-American Brotherhood.
Hey, guys.
And I'd love if you introduced our very special guest today, Tara.
Yeah, we haven't had this guest on in quite some time. So welcome into the studio, literally from a few feet away, Poem Daddy.
That's right. There he is.
Thank you very much.
You're looking good, Poem Daddy, and I love your shirt. I noticed that inside the shirt is the words, I am her, in the Polish-American Brotherhood. So that's a nice twist you did, Tara.
Yeah, actually, that was my brother's idea. So, because I was just playing on the notion that a country is your motherland. And so it's something to be loved and nurtured and everything, like a female.
That's right.
So, yeah, I am her was in there. Plus, also, everyone gets confused when they're like, Polish-American Brotherhood. And I'm like, hi, guys. So, and it's me. They're like, why not sisterhood? I'm like, oh, that's for the Filipino-American sisterhood. But this is the Polish-American sisterhood, right?
Which is coming soon to a channel near you. Well, today is a very big day, guys, out there. People are calling it Happy Unmasking Day. As you guys probably heard by now, a Florida judge, God bless her, of course, she's from Florida, has turned down the mask mandates on airplanes and travel. So as of today, most airlines and airports no longer requiring a mask. Tara, how do you feel about that?
As a person who travels very frequently and including tomorrow to hop over to London, the UK, which has dropped all their travel restrictions, including their mask mandate for inside of the airport as of like a couple of weeks ago, I am super thrilled. I definitely nurse drinks next to me so that way I can pretend that I'm sipping so people would leave me alone.
Yeah, there were a lot of techniques that I deployed when I was on an airplane to avoid wearing the mask. And one of the techniques I used was I would take nighttime flights and I'd wear a hoodie, because then I would put my head down with my hood on and they wouldn't know if I was wearing the mask or not. And because it was nighttime, they wouldn't bother you. So that was a technique that I learned. The other one was always having a cup of water in your hand. If you held a cup of water in your hand, they would not make you wear the mask the entire time.
It's interesting that they would even say, though, that like, oh, you have to put your mask back on between sips and between bites. I mean, that's just really micromanaging all of it. But I would do the same technique that I always wear a hoodie and also a hat. So like I could,
Exactly.
I sleep always on the plane. So I just
Hell
covered
yeah.
myself up and that was my way of getting around stuff for my own comfort.
Poem Daddy, you worked at United Airlines for a long
Correct,
time,
yes.
right?
Yeah. Basically, 33 years I spent with United Continental Airlines.
It's amazing. How do you feel now that you can travel without having masks?
Well, I have to tell you, my opinion it is that the mask didn't help me. In my experience, I got twice COVID, even if I was wearing the mask.
That's right. That's right. And that actually, if you guys read the judge legal reason for it, she went into a lot of details about mask wearing, which up until today, you can't really say on the internet. And honestly, I don't even think that we should read it just because of risk of YouTube. I don't know if the guidance has changed for YouTube regulations, but she made a lot of interesting points about the mask in the legal letterhead. And one of the things that she did say was that the mask doesn't provide any type of cleaning or neutralization of the virus. And in some cases, it's actually known to trap virus particles behind the mask. And I thought that was really interesting to have that in a legal document.
I mean, it was pretty like disgusting to see about all the masks that are around, and most people, I would say, don't have good mask habits in the sense that they would be they use masks, maybe the same surgical mask all throughout, and just throw it in their bag. I actually saw a video once when this woman like picked up dog poop and then put the mask with the mask and then put it back onto her face.
Oh God, I think that was like a celebrity. She got caught on TikTok doing that. That's one of the most disgusting things I've seen.
So actually, like with the normal, like the lay person using these surgical medical masks, I feel like it worsened the situation.
Now, this article is from New York Post that I have on the screen. It's an old headline from December 2020. And this kind of goes to what you're talking about. Wearing a used mask could be worse than no mask amid COVID-19, a study. So, for example, if you use your dog mask to pick up dog poop and you put it on your face, that's probably more unhealthy for you than wearing no mask at all. I would imagine, right?
I mean, do people really not have common sense? I mean, I guess I can answer my own question when it comes to that, but yeah. So with bad like mask hygiene, I feel like people are getting themselves even more sick.
Well, we do know that one party in America, the party that doesn't like to wear masks as much, has been known as the party of common sense. One side is very emotionally driven and based on peer pressure, and one side is based on common sense and logic. And I think we're on that side. So here's the article from CNN. These airlines are making masks optional after mandate struck down. You guys could see for yourself here on CNN. Federal judge in Florida struck down the Biden administration's mask mandate for airplanes and other public transport methods, and airlines are starting to act. Tara, have you seen the video on the internet that's going around of the airplane announcing to people they could take their masks off on an actual flight?
No, I haven't yet. I think I heard you playing it though, and people are like cheering and praising.
Yeah, they are going. They are so excited to see this. If we can go, let me pull up my Instagram.
Yeah, I didn't realize, I remember when the mask mandate started and I didn't think it was like a big deal and I didn't understand why people were protesting it. But then as the pandemic continued and you realize it wasn't about COVID and it really was about controlling like my body, my choice. So it really became about controlling people, and the government doesn't have the right to be putting in these types of mandates or shutting down the businesses, the lockdowns that had happened, because it's in, I don't know, well, maybe they have the right in other countries, but at least in America on paper, we're not supposed to, those actions infringe upon our rights.
Absolutely. Yeah, they took it too far, and this judge really did a good job explaining that. Here is the video, guys. Let's play this video. This is from our friend Benny Johnson, one of the best content creators out there on the internet right now today. Oh, it's going to make me log into your account. Let's see. Let's see if this will work. Open. Let's see if this will work. Here we go. Okay. So there's a flight attendant happily singing along to throw away your mask. That is not the video I wanted to show you guys, though. There was another one where they announced it on the airplane. Here it is. This is the one. Okay, let's open this up. And open. Magic. All right, here we go, guys.
April 18th, the Biden administration announced that the Transportation Security Administration will no longer enforce the federal mandate requiring masks in all U.S. airports and on-board aircraft.
Finally!
Effective immediately, masks are optional for all airport employees, crew members, and customers inside U.S. airports and on-board aircraft.
That's pretty amazing stuff. That's pretty amazing stuff. So, Tara, do you plan on wearing your masks tomorrow at the airport?
If it's not required anymore, then no. Like, if I can board my plane without them kicking me off of it, finally. Free at last, free at last.
You know, I actually went to the airport and I did not wear a mask once. I walked through the airport without the mask on. This was probably about 2 or 3 months ago. And I was maybe one of 3 people not wearing a mask in the airport. And I just didn't care anymore. I was over it. And I got a lot of dirty looks, tons of dirty looks. But I just, you know, I'm happy that we're finally at this part right now. And God bless the right to choose. If you want to still wear a mask, by the way, you are allowed to do that. If you feel comfortable doing that and that's what you want to do, please be our guest. Wear a mask. Wear 3 masks. We don't care. It's up to you.
Yeah, the only thing that people were fighting for was the right to choose for themselves and not have that forced upon them. And like, you know, it was like, since I fly on United, there's a like codes that I have to adhere to, and so like how you didn't wear a mask to try and test the system, it's like I could lose my flight benefits from that, so it's not something I tried. So right. Unfortunately, you know, we all have a price.
That's right. So, you know, you had to, I guess, keep those flight privileges, so you had to stay in line. That's okay, though. You know, it makes sense. All right, so that's congratulations, guys. I think that I want to fly now. I'm planning on it now, and I'm really excited to not wear the mask. And as a matter of fact, tomorrow, since you are going to the airport, Tara, I'll probably go with you. And as I mentioned right before we started the show, I'll probably do a video at the airport tomorrow for you guys. I'm going to interview people about how they feel taking the masks off, and I'll also interview mask wearers and ask them why they are still wearing the mask, even though they no longer have to. So that should be some good videos tomorrow. Excited to film that. Is
this a federal? I didn't read the article yet. So this, you know, you're the source of my news. So for your news feed, go to Adam Francisco.
That's right.
And but is this like across all of the U.S. or this is just Florida?
This is domestic flights here in the U.S. and this is also on a lot of international flights. Here's another article I have with more details.
Yeah, in I know in Europe a lot of the airlines had already done away with mask mandates as well.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Gee, how are these
We're behind the game, actually. We're behind the game.
See, this is what makes no sense to me. Landed the free home of the brave, and then England beats us with the mask mandates. You know, overall. And then there's other countries that have dropped vaccine mandates before us overall. And now we're behind on this too. How are we still considering ourselves land of the free home of the brave?
You know, I feel like sometimes the government is like trying to like mess with us in the sense that they're giving us back our freedoms, right. And then they're going to take it away to further infuriate everybody. So because it's already a tense environment as it is, and we see things that are going on in other countries, and we don't want that to be happening here. But even Fauci was saying how everyone has to still be prepared for a hard pivot. So that's why I'm like, with the mandates being lifted and travel restrictions being lifted, for example, like the UK, that's the reason I'm going there, is because they randomly, suddenly and made the announcement and lifted the requirements, I feel as quickly as they lift the requirements that they will not hesitate to put them back down for any, they're going to call it another variation of another variant, and then, it might be a common cold, but we got a variation, and they'll put the mandates back.
That's right. So let's see what happens this midterm season, guys. Obviously, I'm a strong believer that the Democrats took advantage of the situation in 2020, and I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to add any more context. And I'm curious to see how they use it this midterm. I could see them going one of two ways: more lockdowns, or they could position it as, we've given you back your freedoms. Congratulations. This is all the doing of the Democrats.
I feel until the Great Reset sets in, they're just going to keep pummeling people, though.
I think it's already set in. I think we're already in the middle. I think we're in the Great Reset right now.
Well, what's the Great Reset going to look like then?
I don't know. I just know there's going to be a lot more poor people, less of a middle class. I know the elites are going to be even more powerful, like oligarchs, kind of like big tech. Censorship is going to ramp up. I'm really nervous to see what's going to happen this midterm election. I think the slander, the attacks. I mean, look what's what's happening to Tim Pool lately. Have you been hearing about this?
Did he get swatted again?
Swatted 8 times. He was supposed to be on a show in Nashville. He received credible death threats, had to cancel the Nashville show that he was going to do. And it wasn't even a political show. It was a music show. So I mean, this is just the heat on Tim Pool. I feel like this should be like an indicator, like the Tim Pool thermometer. Like, as more bad things happen to that guy, is just a symbol of how crazy the left is going. The left is going absolutely nuts.
The Tim Pool litmus test.
The Tim Pool litmus test, the barometer, exactly. But just to give you guys more detail, it says it right here, the TSA announced on Monday afternoon it would no longer be enforcing Biden's mask mandate after a federal judge declared it unlawful. So there's your answer, Tara. It's a federal judge. United Airlines, Delta, Alaska, American, and Southwest, God bless United, Poem Daddy, on Monday immediately dropped all mask requirements shortly after a federal judge struck down Biden's mandate, and a Delta flight attendant broke into tears. And I think somebody here was saying, it was either Poem Daddy or you, or I think it might have been your brother. Airline workers are happy to have the mandates lifted because the amount of passengers that were causing problems.
Yeah. That I can see that being true. I think Mark just got back from traveling to Colombia.
I feel like some flight attendants enjoyed having that power over people, right? Some of them probably had like a power complex, but I would imagine a lot of them really hated having to remind people, put the mask above your nose, put the mask above your nose. Yeah,
I mean, even the flight captains, when they'd have to give us the reminder to be wearing them, they said, I know we all don't want to do this, but we have to.
Yep.
So I feel like almost half of them were making that kind of commentary.
Yep. And here's a video of a stewardess announcing they ended the mandates, and she breaks into tears. So this is kind of how I feel.
Like to continue wearing your mask, please feel free to do so. We do have extras if you would like one. First time in 2 years. So my name is Sarah. I will be your flight leader on a 1 hour 35-minute flight up to Atlanta from 3 other business flights with some of my dear friends. Together, we are here for your comfort and safety. So in just a moment, we will be going over the safety features.
That's pretty emotional stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Woman breaks down crying. I wonder when New York is going to lift the mandates, because as of now, New York public transportation is still not exempt. They still have to wear the masks in New York public transportation. I
mean, with what we were seeing in New York with the terrorist attack that just happened on the subway, it looks like Eric Adams has a lot of things he needs to be doing to bring that city back up to make it great again.
Yeah, I don't know. I was in New York. I don't know when was I there? 6 months ago, 7 months ago, 8 months ago, when we were there. When the mandates came in. When was that?
It felt really much like like you were in Gotham, a Batman movie, just when we were walking around at night and you see how much trash is around, and it's like
it's really sad.
It's very ominous.
Yeah,
ominous,
but I remember
that feeling in the air,
Yeah, we were waving Trump flags at Times Square. So if you guys want to watch that video, go to YouTube, and I think you could search Trump flag waving Times Square, and you could see me and Tara trying to trigger the libs out there. And I didn't wear a mask on the subway, and I was literally always one of two people not wearing one on every subway car. And you know, New Yorkers, they're very compliant.
Yeah, in the subway, I wasn't wearing the masks. I didn't have any issues. It was just places when you wanted to go inside to like museums, then it would be or any like attractions, then you'd have to put on a mask. But then they put in the vaccine mandate, and then I couldn't get in at all.
So congrats, guys. We're almost back to at least on the surface, it appears to be somewhat normal, but you know, we're still in the middle of the Great Reset. So congrats to all of us.
You know, things got interesting when they were talking about even the jobs report today during SAG's press briefing, which was probably one of the worst I've seen. All I could hear was ands, and I heard nothing else but that. But they were saying how this administration has created more jobs than any other like year. Did you hear about that?
That's the angle they're playing, and the Democrat voters are buying it up. Like I see literally people going like on Twitter, "Thank you, Joe Biden, for bringing us the most jobs in U.S. history," and I'm like, "You dumbasses! This administration, the Democrats made you stop working. They canceled your jobs. They told you to stay home and lock you down, and all they're doing is letting you have your jobs back. These aren't new jobs.
I was thinking that it's not new jobs; it's people just returning to their old jobs.
And check this out. And again, this is from Tim Pool. He said he was at a very fancy hotel. And he asked for coffee service in the morning. Now, typically, when you stayed at a 5-star hotel and you would order coffee service, they would bring you fresh coffee on a little trolley, right? Maybe with some like cookies or something on the side, like a nice little breakfast, like a continental breakfast. He said they knocked on their door and gave him a Ziploc bag with Coffee Mate. And this is a 5-star hotel.
Yeah, that's been my experience too
right.
across the board too.
Exactly. And there's labor shortages. There's been hour adjustments in most businesses. Companies aren't open as late. Even your neighborhood Walmart here, which you said used to be 24 hours, that now closes at 11 o'clock at night. I've never lived in Florida when there was a 24-hour neighborhood Walmart, so I never experienced that. But that sounds amazing. If 2, 3 a.m. in the morning you're on Lucky Charms, you can go get them. But now you can't. So when the government wants to come out and say America's back, we have 3.5% unemployment rate, they're doing something with the numbers, because you can just look with your own eyes, and there's labor shortages everywhere. There's been hour adjustments, supply shortages. Nothing is back. Nothing is built. Nothing is better.
Well put.
Am I right? We should make T-shirts that say that, although I'm probably sure they already exist. Let's go to local news about this is because this is kind of in your backyard, Tara, the story about the Icon Park ride.
Yeah, that was sad.
Now, for those of you who follow my channel, you guys know that I love doing street interviews. I love going to Icon Park and filming. You know, my only problem with it is that it's a lot of tourists. So when I'm doing my interviews, I end up wasting a lot of time talking to tourists and not actual local Floridians or Americans, because I'm trying to usually get opinions about American politics. But as you guys probably heard, this young man, 14-year-old boy, Tyre Sampson, died on an Icon Park ride. Did you hear about this poem, Daddy? He fell out of, you know, the free fall ride where it goes up and then it just brings you down? Mm-hmm. He slipped out of the ride, and he died. 75 miles per hour, slipped right out of his seat. And
that's sad.
Oh, my God. The video is one of the most horrendous things you will see this year. And apparently, the operator of the freefall drop tower made manual adjustments to 2 seats on the ride, presumably to allow for larger riders, which should not have happened based on the manufacturer's guidelines. So it looks like it wasn't some kind of, manufacturer mistake.
It was they put in new guidelines to allow for larger individuals to be on the ride. Is that what happened?
It looks like somebody adjusted the seat or the harness to allow for a larger ride. So
so they allowed somebody that was larger, basically. And so
yes.
it was against the policies or against the recommendation.
Against the recommendation, like the kid should not
requirements.
Yeah.
I know that rides do have weight requirements
and height, and some have height requirements.
Yeah,
and
height requirements, weight requirements, health requirements. That pregnant, if you're pregnant, you should not be on this ride. If you have a risk of a heart attack, you should not be on this ride. So, if you're obese, you should not be on this ride either. If you're a large person or if you're obese, because that has health issues. And so though he's a 14-year-old child, he was a larger kid, and that's what happened. Wow.
And I believe it's not in this article, but other rides that day actually rejected him because of his size. And this isn't fat phobia. This isn't people are scared of fat people. It has nothing to do with that. This has to do with safety reasons. And unfortunately, when your body dimensions are that far out of the size of a normal average human, some machines or some rides are not going to be built for you. You know, that's just the negative aspect. Now, this kid was, I believe, a football player or an aspiring athlete. So his size was actually understandable. He was trying to be big for the sport that he was playing. And it just seems to be, you know, from what I'm reading, seems to be human error with this mistake.
Yeah.
Which is horrible.
My dad's always saying health is everything. So, Dad, what I'll do a little bit of a pivot, but what is some of your health advice?
I'll just probably eat very healthy.
Dad, put your knees down.
What's that?
Put your knees down.
Nah, he's chilling. This is the T&A late night show. He looks really comfortable right now.
Yeah. Like, put your knees down.
Okay. Well, my advice about the health food it is just research about the superfood, you know, and try to put the right thing in your body.
Now you're always cooking, you know, always cooking for me. I'm definitely not healthier now with my dad's cooking versus the takeout options I was having when I was working corporate life in New York. What are some of the things you like to cook?
Well, basically I'm Polish, so Polish people like potatoes, you know, which are very healthy, you know, and a lot of eat salad. And the thing it is, the juices what makes you very healthy.
Yeah, I will say your dad is always making fresh food pretty much every day for himself. And I think that more people need to learn how to cook for themselves. That's something that I'm guilty of. I don't really cook for myself ever.
Yeah, but you're always working out. So, you know,
That's true.
in a sense, you have to balance it off. Like if you know you're eating a lot of food, then you're working out. But at the same time, you know, the food you're putting into your system, I would say diet's more important than working out and exercise, because like what you're putting into your body and everything that's going to cause, you know, potentially like damage. I mean, it's hard to get rid of weight once you put it on.
Yeah, I always tell people, like, when it comes to calories, right? How long does it take you to eat 1,000 calories worth of food? Well, we could eat 1,000 calories pretty quickly, 15 minutes, 20 minutes if it's a bacon cheeseburger, right, with a lot of cheese and bacon on it. But how long would it take you to burn that off on a treadmill or doing sports?
Forever. That's almost like an hour and a half worth
more for 1,000 calories. Let's talk about we're talking about 3 to 4 hours of exercise to burn that much off. So think about it. Would you rather, you know, diet through 4 hours of exercise, or just instead of having 1,000 calories in a meal, have only 400 calories in a meal? You know, if you have a pound of strawberries, for example, do you know how much food that is? Or a pound of broccoli? That's such a massive amount of food, and it's like no calories. So one of the techniques that you can use to lose weight while still stuffing yourself is eat a lot of vegetables. Nutrition dense, very low calorie, and it's got a lot of water volume too, so it fills you up more. If
you start off your meals with just drinking a lot of water too, because a lot of people don't drink the amount of water that they're supposed to during the day.
That's right.
I'm definitely guilty of that myself. But if you drink water before, it will help to fill you up. And then also eating slowly. We are so used to, here in America, we eat very fast. We're always on the run. We're always busy, versus I would see more in European countries that they take hours for their lunch. It's a nice break. Like, we don't take breaks here. I mean, people don't really take vacations, or like, people are really workaholics here in America versus like other countries. And I think that lifestyle contributes to not having that balance. And when you're always on the go, you're just really just throwing your food into your face and gobbling it up as fast as you can. So, slow down.
That's right.
Normally, average people, they don't know what your body needs. And if you keep your balance with all kind of foods, a little bit of everything, then probably you're going to find out what your body really needs. And you have added your exercise. For me, since I'm a very old person, all what I need is just swimming every day. That's really helped me.
Swimming, right?
Yeah. I swim every day for 45 minutes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Swimming, they say, is better than running.
Mandatory. Even I want to or not, I just go, and without thinking, I go and swim. And after that, I just adding to my body variety of food, which is kind of fresh, and I know it's basically belongs to the superfoods.
What are some superfoods, Dad?
Well, superfoods is fresh, like berries you can add it, or, like my diet consists basically every day of carrot juice and celery. And then I blend also red beet, which is mandatory for me. And I added fresh like grapes, pineapple, apple, and stuff like that. Whatever is fresh on the market.
Is that a dog barking?
No, she's like, where is he? Where's Raindrop?
I
Sorry.
guess he drank.
No, she's sleeping.
Oh wow!
She's having a nightmare.
That's funny. I just heard like the dog barking, and so you guys would probably still hear her. She's having a little doggy.
Where is she though?
She's somewhere in the studio.
Hold on.
Maybe she's under the My Pillow bed.
Let me look for her. I don't know where she is. She's like,
That's funny. Dogs have dreams too.
Oh, here.
Oh, she's right there. Oh, so it was coming through your headset.
Oh, okay, there we go. Through the
Dad's
microphone, yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. That's really cute. Yeah, Raindrop was having a nightmare, guys, or a dream. I don't know.
But my advice, especially for American people, that they eat too much sugar.
That's true.
Or
soda.
Even salt. Too much salt is no good. And that's can ruin your kidney or liver. Then you are in trouble.
Yeah, he's right. I'm obsessed with Starbucks. I know, guys, it's a liberal company. I shouldn't support them. I get that because Starbucks is extremely woke. But I'm addicted to their drinks. I think their drinks are really good. And I got this drink here. This is their Venti almond milk chocolate espresso drink. And normally it comes with 4 scoops of chocolate malt powder. But when I go there, I say, can you guys just give me 2 instead? Because if it has the 4, that's a lot more sugar. And, I still want the experience, but I don't want all that sugar. So there's ways when you go to places like Starbucks, for example, you get a venti drink, just ask for less of the bad stuff. And you could just say it to them, can I have less of the sweet stuff? And they'll know exactly what you're talking about. And also, I love almond milk. That's a great replacement substitute for those of you who are lactose intolerant. So I drink almond milk a lot because I do have some lactose intolerance sometimes. And, I don't want to stink up the studio for Tara.
And also ask for less ice because they put in so much ice that it dilutes your drink and you actually are paying for, just the ice.
That's all. You're paying for a tall drink.
Yeah. So ask for less ice or no ice and refrigerate it,
That's right. Let's do a hard pivot.
All right.
This is the channel of hard pivots. Border Patrol detained at least 23 people from terrorist database crossing Mexican border last year. This is more proof and evidence of why we need strong borders and why we need Trump back to finish building that wall. 23 people apparently were listed on the terrorist screening database while crossing the southern border in 2021. These names are people who are known or reasonably suspected of being involved with terrorism. This is pretty terrifying stuff that people pretty much are just coming through our southern border, and it's free passage. And another report came out today. I forgot by who, but they basically said that our situation at the border is, I think it was like a former security expert. He says that the situation at the border is dire right now. And apparently in May, Biden is loosening some restrictions. And so we should be expecting an onslaught at our border happening.
Yeah, Title 42.
That's what it is.
Title 42, which is a health measure, is being, I guess, withdrawn or expiring. And with that, it also prevented people from coming into the country illegally. And look forward to more caravans, right?
And it's, let me pull up an article for you guys. Here we go. Democrats... I like that other headline more. It sounded more dramatic. Democrats cowardly fear that Biden ending Title 42 will cost them seats. You got to understand something, guys. When it comes to the Democrats, it's all about power. That's all they care about is power and perception. They don't really give a shit about their policies. They only want to do whatever they think is going to get them votes and power. And so here you go. Biden ended Trump's cruel border policy, and some Democrats are ... outraged. Democrats still feel the need to come across as tough on immigration. Yeah, they're just like their words don't match their policies. Their rhetoric doesn't match their policies. This border is so open and loose right now, and yet they're just going to feign like they're concerned about it.
I think it's more cruel that when people are able to come in illegally and then have to be deported, because then they start to have roots in the country, and maybe they start having families here, and then that's how it truly leads to a separation of families. So I think it's more cruel for the deportation to occur.
I was visiting, I think it was Cabo a couple years ago, actually. And this is probably 6 years ago. And this is very early on in the Trump presidency. So I was there at a Mexican restaurant in Cabo, of course, Mexican food in downtown Cabo. And it was my birthday, actually, 7-Eleven. Must have been 2017 or something, 16. And my server was a Mexican guy, but his English was absolutely perfect. Okay? That's uncommon in Mexico. If you meet a Mexican server who's Mexican by blood, chances are their English is not going to be perfect like mine is. That's just the reality. They'll have an accent, is what I'm trying to say, right?
Was he, did he spend time in the States or
I asked him,
completely?
So I asked him, I said, why is your English so good? And then in my head, I'm like, this is what people always say to me. It's kind of racist. But mine is more nationality driven than ethnicity driven. You know what I'm saying? If I meet a Latino in America that speaks perfect English, I don't think, why do you speak English so well? It's like you're in America, duh. But this kid was in Mexico. So I was like, why? He said that he grew up in Utah.
Yeah, I figured.
He grew up in Utah, but he was deported, like with DACA or something.
Yeah.
And basically, the U.S. government told him that he had to, quote unquote, go home. And he was just like, but this is my home. And they were just like, no, you have to go home to Mexico. And he was just like, but I don't know anybody in Mexico. So they sent him back to apparently this is the story he told me. And he ended up having to live in Cabo. And that's where he ended up. So in one way, he did get a lot of the benefits of the U.S., which I think is a wonderful thing for him that he was able to get that. But as you're saying, it was also cruel because he was then uprooted and lifted because, his parents or whatever came through here illegally. So ultimately, it did affect him all this time later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas if the parents had gone through the legal immigration, had all the paperwork in order, all that stuff happened, he probably would have been able to, stay and it would have been a, full American citizen.
That's one that I'm, conflicted about. You have the Dreamers Act that allowed the children who are brought in to then have a form of like amnesty that they can stay if they go to college and then can become a productive person here in America. Because it's not the kid's fault. No. It's not the kid's fault, but at the same time, like if we grant amnesty to everyone, we saw that Reagan did that, and he gave amnesty or amnesty maybe is the wrong word, but gave everybody citizenship for like over 3 million illegal immigrants, thinking, all right, let's just wipe the slate clean and this will get rid of the problem. But however, that exacerbated the problem because it created an incentive.
That's exactly it. I think the reason why, we were against that whole concept, not me personally, but a lot of Americans are, is just because it incentivizes future behavior. It gives you a loophole into immigrating, and then what do they call them? Anchor babies or something?
An anchor baby is different. An anchor baby is a person that was a child that was born here in the U.S. Right. So basically, you came and dropped anchor. So that's because you get citizenship by birth into the country. So if you're born here in the U.S., you get the citizenship. Now, citizenship rules are determined very differently from country to country. So other countries, they don't let that. Like if you are born there, that doesn't make you the citizen of the country you're born in. You take on the citizenship of your parents, regardless. And so there's no concept of an anchor babe in that regard. And the other is by blood, so that if a child is born to an American citizen but was born abroad, for instance, my nephew was born in Poland, but he's still an American citizen because my brother is an American.
Yeah, I was obviously not. I was born in Mexico, so I was born as a Mexican citizen, and then I was naturalized as an American citizen when I was like, I don't know, a baby.
was
year and a half
actually
old.
just like curious about that. Randomly, it came across my mind. Like, did like how it works for adoption? Do you automatically get citizenship?
I think you have to be naturalized.
So like because the process of naturalization is like what, like 10 years or something?
I have pictures of me being naturalized when I was like 2 years old or something.
What do you mean? Pictures of you being naturalized?
Like
Well,
there's
like,
a picture of me in some kind of federal courthouse where I'm like, my mom or dad is like having my hand on my heart and holding my hand, like my hand.
Oh, that's cute.
And because I was being naturalized.
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah.
I just vaguely remember seeing this photo of me. So I am,
so so you actually had to go. It's not like an instant process in a sense that they're like, okay, we just grant the papers. It's still like a couple of years to give American citizenship to children who are adopted into America.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the details. I should probably ask. We'll have my dad on the channel at some point because he lives down here in Florida now. But yeah, I know I'm a citizen. I have my passport and my social security number. But I don't know the details about it, to be honest.
Adam, stop looking down so much.
I'm trying to read about the naturalization now.
Yeah, guys, I was scolding him right before. I'm like, last stream, he looked like he had Down syndrome.
Oh God,
he looked like he had
Down.
Down syndrome, or like, or you were shamed because you're always looking down. So, as the producer, I'm always running tech notes, and I try to keep them off screen. But I'm like, Dad, feet down. Adam, stop looking down, and this is all for you. So that way you look good, and that way you don't look like you have Down syndrome.
And also, Raindrop, shut the F up. Right? Because Raindrop likes to cry in the background.
Well, at least I feel very comfortable here because I'm a little bit not familiar with what you guys doing. But if it comes to the immigration, I want to say something because myself, I'm a refugee to this country, and I was naturalization citizen. And I believe that North America, either Canada or the United States, have so much land which we need people here. But we have to go through the legal process. Okay. Myself, I was interviewed by FBI. I was interviewed by Interpol, check if I'm not a criminal. And I think United States should be more flexible to the good people who want to come here and work hard. And myself, I was not enough smart, but the United States accept me, and I work for various companies, and the companies like me. I work for United Airlines, and they've been very happy with me. I try to be best mechanic I could.
Mm-hmm. It makes me think of how, and I'm not saying that all illegal immigrants are criminals. Well, I mean, you are technically breaking the law if you're coming in illegally, right. But criminals in their past life in their prior countries and everything. Right. But like you do go when you're going through the legal process, you are vetted. They do check your background to make sure that you're not a criminal, and so when people bystep going through the legal process, it's like, do you have a criminal background? Is that the reason why you can't apply through the regular legal process? And
I would argue that those who try to come into the country illegally are more likely to be criminals than those who come through legally. I think it's just common sense.
My advice to those people who come into this country, either legally or illegally, don't fight this system what it is now. This system is perfect, The people like this system. And all what we have to do, just work hard, We have to be appreciated to America that they give us better life. I was very poor in Poland, And that's why I left that country. I didn't like that system. That's secondary. But
communism sucks.
When I came to America, I didn't go to the politics or anything like that. All what I concentrate, being good worker.
That's right.
That's made me, very proud what I am, and I could give better life to my children.
And let me just say, as the non-family member here, watching you guys as a family unit, you're very successful as a group, and it's amazing how much your dad's accomplished here in this world. I know he's got multiple properties. You run a very successful real estate business. You have this amazing studio here. So he's gone from nothing, right? From Poland,
Zero.
comes here.
I was very every day I was very hungry. Sometimes when I was going to sleep, I was crying that I don't have enough food to put in my stomach,
Right.
But I keep my mouth shut. I just, been dreaming coming to the better world, to America.
So to me, this is like the perfect example of the American dream. A guy who comes here legally with nothing, right, except the effort in his pockets and just crushes it. And fast forward all these years later, he's got a beautiful family. He's got multiple, properties, and he's set up a really successful life for his children. You guys are gonna inherit a lot of stuff.
I do have to comment on the families that have been here for generations and people who get stuck in the welfare system as well.
Yep.
It's like, I'm first generation American. My family does well for itself, but my dad didn't even have food growing up. So people who are born here, they already have a leg up. They already have the privilege of being born into this country, and to have been here generations, and they get like those in welfare, they when they get stuck in welfare, they're not leaving welfare. They're not bettering themselves. It is possible to better yourself and better your entire family lineage in one generation, but you got to work hard for it. And it's more than just working hard. Like, you can't assume that assume actually the counter, that you're not the smartest person in the room. You should assume you're not the smartest person in the room, but what's in your control is being the hardest working person in the room. And if you're the hardest working person, you're also going to work smarter and not harder.
That's right.
So it's just disappointing that because I do get I don't know how to describe it, but when people say do talk badly about immigrant families and everything, I don't subscribe to any kind of excuses to how life is unfair. Guess what, Buttercup? Life is definitely going to be unfair. Good people have bad things happen to them, and bad people have good things happen to them. It's not about what you quote unquote deserve. Throw that out the window. So if you work hard and something fails, it's not about what you deserve. The people who eventually succeed in it is because they can identify what made them fail and then apply that into the next endeavor, and they don't give up, they don't stop, and they keep going, and they're not entitled is the main thing. So I feel like a lot of people who are born here for generations have that entitlement to them. For instance, my mom, who's a nurse, she was caring for this woman who then said to my mom, oh, you people are coming here and taking all of our jobs. And my mom just said, there's the office over there if you want to apply. So they used to say that, oh, eat all your food because there's a starving child in India that, so you don't want to waste any of your food. But really today it's you better study hard because there's a child in India who's going to take your job. And so you have to be better. You have to work harder. You have to be better, and you have to be more creative because you're in competition with everybody. And don't if you succumb to your excuses as to why you failed and see a failure as opposed to seeing it as an opportunity for improvement, you will stay a loser.
That's right. And just to add to this whole dynamic that we have in this US, I'm the only in my direct family, right? I'm the only brown person because my whole family is white because I was adopted, so I don't match the rest of my family. So despite me being the only Mexican in my whole family, the only dark person in my whole family, when I was working in advertising sales, when I was crushing it, I made more money than anybody else in my family ever made per year. So that's one of the reasons why when I hear, America's so racist and it's oppressing people of color, I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Because I grew up with white people and I was more successful financially than almost all of them, if not all of them in my direct family. So it's I don't think that racism is a big issue in the U.S. at all.
And people would know that if they traveled outside of the U.S.
Yeah.
That, especially in comparison to the rest of the world. If you travel out of the U.S., you will definitely be a lot more thankful for what we have here because it is truly unique. And though I love traveling abroad, there's no place like the U.S.
Yeah, I would love if these BLM activists, especially the more radical ones, left the country for a few months and just lived elsewhere and experienced what life is like and seeing what real oppressed people look like.
Exactly. I'm always if you don't like it, then you should leave, because how they're always saying for, Trump supporters, they're always saying get out of this country and leave. we're the ones who love America. You're the one who's trying to burn it down, and you say you hate America and death to America. Like, if you hate it so much, then you leave.
And I'll say
go
this.
live in communism. Go and starve like my dad did growing up. You'll see.
There's few other countries in the world where it's good to. It's not. I'm not going to say it's good to be poor or broke, but there are fewer countries that are as good to you if you're poor and broke here in America with our social security, with our safety nets. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of safety nets here in the U.S. We have a lot of social safety, welfare programs, healthcare for people that can't afford it. I mean, we have a really good system. People here who don't have any money. That's the reality for low-income individuals.
And I think the issue is that people are starting to abuse that, though. Not even starting to. They've been abusing it. So there's no reason that a person should stay in perpetual welfare from one generation to the next generation and never be able to better themselves in a lifetime. There's no reason for that. It's because they're choosing to stay in welfare. And the thing is, it's not solely their fault, because I do feel like the government has set it up that way because they make more money when people are on welfare, because then they're able to justify that by saying we need more taxes. And then they're able to extract more taxes from the working people, take their cut, and then give whatever remains from there. But it's really interesting how other states like California and New York, like their homeless population and situation is terrible, but these are the most taxed places, and yet they have the most social problems.
That's so true. And they said, according to new studies, 20% of COVID financial assistance was fraudulently handed out. So there's a lot of fraud happening in this country, a lot of corruption. There are people that used COVID PPE loans or whatever they're called, PPP loans.
Yeah.
To buy Ferraris. So they game the system, and hopefully they get caught and held accountable for their actions.
Yeah, I remember when I was a student at NYU and I was buying groceries, and the lady in front of me, she was paying with food stamps, and then she was on her iPhone. I didn't even have an iPhone. I had like a flip phone, and so I just thought it was the strangest thing to see. A person paying with food stamps, but then having an iPhone.
Yeah, that's a little.
That goes out to personal choice of things, but it's just like, yeah.
Well, speaking of phones, this is a good segue. Actually, this is not a hard pivot. This is a soft pivot. Did you hear that the White House is trying to give migrants free phones at the border?
Yeah, I heard about that, because they're trying to say like, oh, we'll be able to track them better. I mean, won't they, in a sense, like, there's just better use of the money, first of all. I mean, like, how about me? I want a free phone. Like, well, like, this is just another example of how the government is prioritizing illegal people, non-citizens.
And incentivizing it.
Incentivizing it, yeah. Hey, like, they're giving them they're giving them all these benefits.
Do you need a free phone? Come to the U.S. That should be their new tagline. It's crazy. It's crazy. I got this article. I want to pull up this video of Joe Biden. Where did it go? Did I just lose it? No, I did not. Yes, I did. Come back to me in a minute. I got to go back to my Twitter. I got to find it again. Hold on. It's a video, guys, of Joe Biden at the White House today.
Is that the Easter Bunny one?
Yeah, the Easter Bunny one.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Yeah,
okay.
You got to pull that one up.
I got this right here, guys. This is just bizarre. This is really sad. I want to play a few Joe Biden clips right now, guys. Check this clip out.
Pakistan should not, and Afghanistan should be. People should
oh, the Easter Bunny, Mr. President.
There's another angle of it, which is even sadder. This one right here, I think.
Oh yeah, this one's perfect.
Oh my God, that's our. Did you see this?
You showed it to me earlier.
This is our president of the United States of America.
Like, no.
No, this is just like, it's so pathetic. Apparently, he was talking about Afghanistan, and they didn't want him to, so they sent the Easter Bunny in to distract him and change the subject. That's because you hear him say the word Afghanistan right before the Easter Bunny does that. Isn't that crazy?
Dad, what are your thoughts of Joe Biden?
Well, he's the president, so we have to, stick together right now. But as you see my head here, I'm Trump supporter.
That's right. Let me see. Where's the other one? I think I sent you. Could you open that email?
Yeah.
Your Instagram's not working on this iPad. I don't know why. Under Easter Bunny, the subject Biden isn't in control. The second link. It's an Instagram reel. It's a video of Jill Biden just really stepping up, I guess, or showing that she's really in charge of Mr. Biden. Because I don't think that he's in control of himself right now. And this video is posted from Charlie Kirk. Yeah, here we go. You're going to want to play the audio on this one. And he writes, "It's worse than I thought." And he's right. This is pretty bad, guys.
Where's the audio coming from?
It's on the bottom.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, you can start it over. When she treats him like a puppy. Yeah, just let it loop. Just let it loop.
Happy Easter. All right.
Wait. Okay, so I'm going to quickly read Brown Bear, so you're all not soaking wet.
And they're not going to let me read it all.
I'll let you, here, you can start us off.
What the hell?
Okay, just stay.
Okay, just stay.
Just sit. Don't move.
And then he repeats out loud.
Teacher, you know.
Oh, he does that all the time with his earpiece, right?
This is so sad, isn't it? She's literally like a puppet master telling him like what to do next. It's shocking. This is what they gave to us.
Happy Easter.
This is what they gave to us.
All right.
Wait.
Wave.
Okay, so I'm.
Oh my gosh.
It's disturbing, isn't it? It's really sad stuff that we're seeing here. I don't know. I think he's gone out of his mind, in my opinion. And I'm not trying to say it to be mean. I'm not trying to be a dick.
You see stuff, and I'm like, this is elderly abuse.
It's elderly abuse.
You know, I feel bad for the guy because he's not, he's nothing but an empty vessel at this point. Though you heard about Biden, Hunter Biden's like laptop. There's more corroborating evidence from it is showing that he was definitely involved with criminal activity. So,
yeah, they shared bacon allegedly. Use the word allegedly.
It's not alleged anymore. He's criminal. So
I mean, they did like share bank accounts. He is getting 10% to the big guy. Who's the big guy? Who's the big guy? Hunter?
Yeah, they're trying to make it like ambiguous. Like the big guy's only one guy.
That's right. Here's another story. This is about Vernon Jones. I
met him.
I believe Vernon Jones was a former Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he switched over to the Republican side.
Yeah, I've seen him speak at several events.
Yeah, because I think he's had enough of the Democrats, like most of us.
I guess.
And he got a message from somebody saying, "You ought to be hanging from a tree. Popular MAGA star and GOP candidate Vernon Jones receives disgusting racist death threats online. Campaign is investigating." So it's always interesting to me how like you have people like Jussie Smollett that have to create fake hate crimes and hoaxes, right? Because the right generally is not a hateful group of people, but then you have on the left these some of these radical psychos literally leaving death threats to black Republicans.
They're probably not. They're not even considering that racism. If it's coming from one side, then they're not going to even label it as racism because they just disagree with the ideology, and evidently you can only be a racist if you're a conservative or on the right side.
Yep. And this is consistent behavior from the left because this was last year, egg thrown at Larry Elder during recall campaign event in Los Angeles. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah, I remember that.
And some of the protesters were wearing gorilla masks as he walked down the street.
Yeah, they're probably the ones who are at the Stop Asian Hate protests and BLM protests. They're saying fight racism, and then they go over to our events and do actual racist action.
It's quite disturbing. So the bottom line is mainstream media is not going to cover these stories because it puts the Democrats in a bad light. So that's why we have to depend on things like the Gateway Pundit for the stories against Vernon Jones. And if you notice here, this article on ABC, they don't even talk about the gorilla mask. They leave that part out. They put the egg part in, but
they don't want to even make it seem like that racism was involved.
But they don't want to show the actual racist element of the story. So this is what the mainstream media does. And so if you ever want your full story, you by now know you're going to have to go and do your own research and look it up. I think I had one more link I wanted to share tonight that I liked.
Yeah. Final topic.
It's a guy named David Curtin. I don't know if you've heard of him.
No. Who is he?
He's in the... Where's Twitter on this thing? Yeah, if you want to go into that email again, it's the last link.
Okay.
No, it's second to last link. Twitter.com/David Curtin. He shared this, and I thought it was really... it really summarized a lot of our beliefs. He's, let's see, social conservative, pro-freedom, pro-family, pro-nation, pro-life. Writer, speaker, Christian. So, a lot of good labels there. And if you want to pull that tweet up on the screen.
Racism from the left?
No, it's the one above that. Twitter.com.
Twitter.
Yeah, /David Curtin. It's a great tweet. It's a lot of things that I think we believe here on the channel, on the T&A Show. I thought it was a nice checklist. Here we go. National sovereignty is good. Do you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Mass immigration is bad.
Mm-hmm.
There's no climate emergency. All lives matter.
Mm-hmm.
The budget should be balanced. There are 2 sexes, not 59 genders. Children should not be groomed. Marriage is a man, and that one I don't really care about. And then life begins at conception. So it's a pretty strong list of values that should guide a society. The only one that I have questions with is the marriage is a man and a woman. As you guys know, I'm not a conservative, and I don't really care about marriage in general for my personal life.
Well, here's the thing. It's because the same word is being used in the church and also in legal legislature. So from a church perspective, they would call it a civil union. So all those same rights are afforded to a civil union, but the church won't recognize a marriage between same-sex couples because if the marriage cannot produce children, is not considered a marriage by definition in from a Christian or a religious standpoint. So it's a definition kind of thing, and how the same word is being used between legal and religion.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because generally I don't care if people, the same sex want to get married or whatever. I'm just like, if that's what you want to do with your life. I mean, I personally, from what I've seen, all the research, I think marriage is generally overrated, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you're just against marriage for the most part.
Well, for my personal, I just don't.
Yeah, it's not within your choice and everything. So
yeah, I just don't see that's for me. One person the rest of your life. I don't know if it's realistic. That's just my view. That's my personal view. But for those who can do that, God bless you. If you could be in a marriage for 50, 60, 70 years, God bless you. That's amazing. If that's the way you want to live your life, that's a wonderful thing for you guys. But for me personally, I don't really care if I ever get married or not. I would rather not get married in my life, I think.
That all changes when you meet the one.
I mean, I want love. Don't get me wrong. I think love is a great concept.
I don't think there is the one, though.
Yeah, I also don't know if I agree with the one. I agree with the many. The one is, a lot of the one, by the way, is who you happen to also meet and run into.
I mean, there's a lot of, because if you think about it, there are so many people that exist in this world across space and time. So when you're able to cross paths with an individual, every person you come across is special, because it's so unique that you were even able to be in the same pathway as that person and everything. But I think of it like the Sex and the City analogy, that a person's is basically like a taxi cab. The light has to be on. The light on top has to be on and available to give rides, because it doesn't matter how great you are as a person. If the other person, their taxi cab light isn't on, it's not going to work, because they're not emotionally available or whatever. They're at a point in their life that they're not ready, or they have not yet gained enough life experience to appreciate what's in front of them.
Well, at our age, I'll say this, since we're both in our, you're mid, whatever. I'm late 30s.
21 forever.
You're 21 forever. But people that are close to our age, the checklist gets, I think, bigger and bigger. And the red flags become more apparent and more apparent, right? So, for example, just speaking completely rhetorically here, but if you're 21 years old and you're dating a guy who's 21 years old and you're both broke, there are no expectations of anything, because it's kind of like, we're both doing this together. We're going to make it work. But when you turn in your 30s and you're dating other 30-year-olds, you expect some level of capability, whether it's financial, emotional, spiritual. You expect something, right? Mm-hmm. A level of maturity. And if that person doesn't have it at this age, by this time, you're wasting your time. And so the guidelines that we have and the benchmarks get stricter and stricter as we get older. Plus, we put up with less shit.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's important to know that what your boundaries are already and what your deal breakers are going to be. So that's something.
What are your deal breakers?
Those are things that you may not know until you experience it, and know that's not something that you're going to be willing to accept into your life.
Right.
So that's what you gain through more experience. But I mean, those who are fortunate to be meeting somebody at a young age or marrying their high school sweethearts and stuff, and not having to put up with the heartache of having, several boyfriends or girlfriends and breakups and everything, like, that's wonderful. I think it's a rarity, but that's also a wonderful thing. So, but yeah, it also, like, our checklist might go up, but it's not so much like our checklist goes up because the phrase settling down. It's because it's like you're settling, as in, like, you're willing to accept something that maybe one person is not going to fulfill everything that's on your checklist. So I think you start in your 20s, you're going to be like, oh, I want him to be this, I want him to be that, I want him to have this characteristic, versus when you're in your 30s, you're like, he can't be this, he can't be that. So it reverses that regard. But then also for a woman, like, the more she achieves in her life in terms of education or career or success, like, that does actually become a limiting factor as to the pool of men that will be to her standard, or even want her, quite honestly.
Yeah, I see women on my TikTok all the time, that women over 40 or even in their late 30s that are really successful financially, and they always talk about how hard it is to find a man. Because you're right, if a woman is making, let's say, $100,000 per year, right? Generally, the man's going to want to be the breadwinner. So if she's already making $100K per year, well, then he's got to be making like $500,000 per year. Now, how many men make $500,000 per year or more? Less than 1%. So this 1% of men, these high income earners, they have so many options. They have so many girls clamoring for them. 80% of the female market is going after them. And so these men, for my opinion, are more likely to cheat and be less faithful because they have so much money and they're so desirable. And odds are, if you're making that much money, you're probably traveling a lot through work and through personal time. And
that's also why they and you have the money to afford. One of our social constraints or expectations or standards or rules are for monogamy as opposed to polygamy, when you can marry multiple people. Because if polygamy were something that was like socially acceptable, it would be a small pool of men that are actually getting all the females, because because only like the top tier of men would be getting all of the girls, as opposed to spreading it out.
That's right. And if you look at dating app data, 20% of men on dating apps get 80% of the right swipes. Yeah. Which is crazy. Yeah. So that's just the reality of how it will work. One man is getting all the ladies. Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, like, the more a woman is independent, the less she's going to be putting up with. Correct. And not that I don't advocate that any man or woman stay in an abusive relationship by any means, but there's a bit of an aspect of dependency why people stay together. I mean, people stay together for all different reasons. And I think that when you achieve more financial independence and, success in your career, like how they say, like, oh, one of the tricks is like, let me knock down their self-esteem so they'll never leave me.
That's right. Yeah, you knock them down a few points, get them down a few levels, right? That's the games we play when it comes to dating. But that's all I have for articles today. I got nothing else really for you. The biggest deal is the Florida mask mandates. I mean, the travel mask mandates. Thank God those are gone. Peace out. I'm excited to never have to wear a mask again. I don't know how you feel, but I know I'm pumped.
Yeah, I'm thrilled, especially with flying tomorrow.
You're going to have to take a selfie tomorrow on the plane.
Free at last, free at last.
And try to get like someone who's wearing a mask behind you in the frame so you can see how miserable they look compared to you. All right? How's that sound?
Sounds like something to put on my to-do list, right? All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up because we are, this is a late night show, which is why I said it in the title. Even if I set the timer for 11 o'clock, this is the late show, so we started late.
That's right.
But yeah, I was like fiddling around with more tech stuff, which is my dad walks into the studio earlier. He's like, "This is never ending," and I'm like, "It's better now." But everything gets better every single time. So
I forgot to do one thing. I promised this guy I was going to answer his question.
Okay.
So let me answer that now. This is from Traveling Dude, and he said, "Nice podcast, Adam. I'm just curious, how do you make a living? Do you invest a lot, especially with crypto or real estate? Got any ideas for landing a good, solid remote side hustle job? I can't wait to get to Mexico again myself. I miss being in Cancun. Many ladies are very pretty in Mexico. Any links would be appreciated for any remote jobs or investment opportunities. Trump DeSantis for 2024. Can't believe I forgot to read that. That was one of the things I posted. Yeah, I survive off of crypto and my stock market investments, which, by the way, I'm being slaughtered in the stock market right now because of Joe Biden. But I'm doing okay with my crypto. I don't own any real estate, but that's definitely something I should have done. Definitely missed opportunity there. My YouTube channel generates a very small, modest amount of income. Basically, it's enough to cover a few meals every month. But hopefully over time, that's going to keep growing. And I also spend about half the year out of the country living in developing places like Thailand or Vietnam or Mexico. And when I'm there, my costs get down to about 20% of what they are in the U.S. So my investments they grow faster than when I can spend when I'm overseas. And that includes massages and dates and all that stuff. I get to live much higher quality of life for a fraction of the price as I do here in the U.S., which is why I just love living overseas more. I love not having to work a full-time job.
Yeah, I like the feeling of being rich. It's like I come back to the U.S. and I feel poor.
Exactly. Like $20 in the pocket in the U.S. is a meal. But $20 in Thailand is an entire day of activities. So, it's like pick your poison. What do you prefer? I'd rather just live in Thailand and not worry about money. But here in the U.S., it's very expensive. And Joe Biden inflation is killing us. Even in Mexico or Thailand, if the prices go up 30%, you don't feel it as much because the dollar is so powerful. So I just tell people, my best investment advice is to live somewhere cheap.
Yeah, the key is you have to live below your means. Live below your means, and
right.
that way you can end up with having disposable income that you're able to invest. Just like
that's the good one too. Yes, that's the other thing. That's a huge piece of advice. Like, could I afford a couple $1,000s a month rent or a mortgage? Of course I could. I mean, a mortgage, by the way, isn't wasting money. That's actually an investment. But let's look at rent only. Could I pay more in rent? Of course I could, but I don't want to because then I'd rather live very far below my means. So that's good advice, Tara.
Another thing, though, that's going to be a good key to happiness is when you're happier with less. Like if it takes less material things in your life to keep you happy, then you're definitely winning.
When I sold that item for the 10 Ethereum this week, right? And I came across it was $30,000 US, right? A lot of people I think would have rushed out to spend it. You know what I did? I put $29,500 of it into investments, and I splurged with $500 on Amazon.com, buying things like a new pair of sneakers that I wanted, and I bought a Trump 2024 sticker for my car, and I just bought like some small things, but I put away 99% of my investment. I'm not touching it.
There's like people who win the lotto, they actually a lot of people, I don't know what statistics or anything, but they'll end up depressed afterwards. And it's more so that like they experience that high. But when you suddenly come into a bunch of money that you don't have and that you didn't have before, and depending on your spending pattern, like if you're happy with your life, incoming money and everything, like you're not going to change who you are as a person or change the things you like. I think like if you're a jerk in life, more money is going to amplify that and make you more of a jerk. If you are a good person in life, then more money is going to amplify that and make you more of a good person because you'll end up being like philanthropic. But yeah, so if you're happy as a person, how you spend your money when you come into come into it is not going to change in terms of patterns. Like if people go and splurge and like buy cars immediately or buy like houses are investments. So like barring like paying off maybe your family's debt and then investments, like if you just go and use it on frivolous materialistic things, like you probably weren't that happy to begin with. Like if you're the type of person who will go and spend it on other people, you probably are quite happy.
That's right.
Happy individual. Quick thank you to Mooses for the super chat.
Hell
Always
yeah.
appreciated.
Hell yeah.
He said, love the shows and y'all's content. Please do another where Adam dresses up again.
All right, we're going to do it soon for you when you tag us back from England. The other thing I'm going to tell you is I did take out $2,000 cash from my Ethereum sale, and I brought it to the casino with me last night. And I turned the $2,000 into $6,000. So my pocket's a little heavy today, and just so you
Adam's on a good luck streak. His luck is hot. You know what's funny? So yesterday during
put me on the camera. Put my money where the mouth is, guys. Put the money where the mouth is. This is from the casino last night. So we had a good night at the casino, and my boy Pete Fart, who's actually watching right now, he was with me last night as my witness. So anyway, sorry about that. Just wanted to show that I did a nice night at the casino last night.
Flex.
That's right.
But so Adam bought yesterday with Easter dinner. Adam bought a bunch of lottery tickets for me and my family, and then so he spent like $100 on lotto scratch offs, and then randomly passed it around the table afterwards for dinner. So we're all like sitting there scratching it off, and guess who ends up being the big winner? Adam does. Like he's randomly passing it out. There's no like science to it, and he ends up being the one who gets the winning scratch offs versus any of us. So like when your luck is hot, it's hot, and I mean I do believe in putting out energy and vibrations out into the world. So when you have good vibrations into the world, that's the type of energy you're going to be attracting, and and then also like in a sense like when something bad even happens to you, when if you're the type of person who can find the thing to appreciate even in bad situations, then again winning, because you'll always be happy with you'll always be able to be happy because you're still able to find a blessing in dark circumstances.
Before we wrap up, I want to ask your dad one question. Poem Daddy, what is your best investment advice?
Well, the safety, it is probably real estate.
100%.
If you are younger, because it's a long-term investment, so your benefit it is probably after many years. But this is safe investment in
real estate.
America, yes.
Yeah, I agree with him 100%. That's the biggest gaping hole in my portfolio is I own no real estate, and I should have bought real estate 8 years ago when I had my opportunity in New York City. There was a property I literally toured on 23rd Street and First Avenue, 23rd between First and Second Avenue. And it was selling for $700,000 at the time. And it was I think a 800 square foot apartment in New York. But then I saw the HOAs. You know what those are, the homeowner associations?
Yeah.
And it was almost $2,000 a month. And I was like, hold on, is that like the mortgage? Because I didn't know what I was, at the time.
No, that's on top of that.
And they were like, nope, that's just the homeowner association on top of your mortgage. And I was like, so if I take out this loan for this $700,000 property, my mortgage is going to be like $3,500 a month. Plus the $2,000 for HOA, they were like, yep.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to end up being even more. So, like when I was looking into real estate, even in New York, I'm like, is it even worth buying? It's not at the time. I guess it depends on what the economy is and market is. But at the time that I was living it was definitely not worth it because you still have to pay the monthly maintenance and HOAs. Yep. That in addition to your mortgage, there's actually no savings when it comes to not renting.
Well, I'll say that apartment is now selling for like $1.4 million. So I would have netted $700K in equity had I made that investment.
Is it sitting empty though? Because there's a lot of
I don't know what it is now at the pandemic. It probably crashed a little bit, but now the prices are going back up again. So
yeah, because like New York has a lot of like luxury buildings that are sitting empty that real estate developers had constructed all of these buildings, but no one's buying them. Again, if it's it's $1 million luxury apartments, which the price that you're saying, Adam, that to me seems pretty standard, not even luxury.
It was standard.
Yeah,
it was like it was a luxury, but it was like it was a nice apartment.
Yeah, because like the there's a like 500,000 or $500,000 back in the day would get you like a brownstone small studio maybe in like Midtown West. But yeah, I mean, New York's crazy. Like I don't know about that being a good investment, but yeah.
I'm telling you, the only reason why one would live in New York, at least my perspective, is that you can make a lot of money there if you're in the right field and the right career. But barring that, I'm enjoying my life much more living in LA. I enjoyed it more living in LA. I enjoy my life more living in Thailand, Mexico, Florida. I love having my own car. I love having space, fresh air, more room. The gyms here are cleaner. Everything here is cleaner and newer. You know what I'm saying? And on top of each other.
Yeah. I mean, I lived in New York also for like 8 years. Before that, Miami. And so I was out of the house for like more than 10 years. And all that was like being super stressed
and partying.
stressed partying, but stressed and working for other people, that I was like, you know what, my skills I need to reserve for excelling myself, as opposed to spending that on other people and making them money. And my dad used to say, you know, it's my chickens that'll make me happy. So that you know, like now that I'm back here with my family, other like people in it, and I'm more happy than when I was more happy than when I was away. So yeah,
that's right. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap it up. T&A Show. Thank you for watching.
We'll give it to Dad to give any closing remarks and thoughts. Dad, thanks for joining us in studio. You know, walking 5 feet from the living room over to the studio, and we'll have you in more often.
Well, all what I want to mention now, the problem what is in Europe now. Okay, since I'm Polish. And the Ukraine is in my heart. I wish the Ukrainian people glory, slava to Ukraine, okay? And I hope the criminal Putin gonna we're gonna bring him to justice for what he done to Ukraine, especially killing all those innocent children. Slava to Ukraine.
All right. Well, thanks again, Dad, for joining us in studio. Our hearts are always with the Ukrainian people, not the Ukrainian government, but with the people. And thanks for joining us, guys, for a late night edition of, I was about to say the Polish American Brotherhood. Just kidding, the T&A Show, because here, you know, it's Taryn, Adam, Tits and Ass, and but yeah, we'll see you guys later, and we'll be back in studio probably in about like 2 weeks when I get back from London.
That's right. But I'll be, guys, if you guys want to catch me tomorrow, I'll be on Ricky Rebel's podcast, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Go to Ricky Rebel on YouTube or Facebook. I'll be there. I'm his official co-host, which is super exciting because I love talking to that guy. He's an absolutely incredible person. And we'll be doing some more videos on the street for you guys in Tara's absence. And I'm going to try to get her to do a live stream while she's gone. And you have a big interview coming up possibly in England. So
we'll see.
Let's, I don't want to mention the names. But if you get them on your channel, that'll be absolutely amazing. All right, guys, thanks for watching. You know where to find us, TNAShow.com, which I need to update, my bad. And we'll be back soon with more articles and more content for you. Well,